Well, happy Saturday, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Hope you've been reading along with us this whole week in Mark 4 through 6. Today, we're going to be finishing up chapter 6, and we're going to be talking about some of the things that are, well, quite frankly, they're supernatural. And so we want to make sure that we are focused on God. When we're focused on God, we are going to be amazed, honestly. Hi, I'm Pastor Mark with Heights Christian Church, and what we are doing is we're going through the Bible in 5 years. And in 5 years' time, we want to have gone through the entire Bible so that we can learn the scriptures. And so the scriptures we believe are inerrant. We believe that they're true. And if we know truth from God, then that will help us in every area of our life. We'd love for you to join us. We'd love for you to be a part of this with us on a daily basis. 5 days a week, 6 days a week, not 5, but 6 days a week, we are going to be reading together. And then on the seventh day, which is a Sunday, we are going to have a worship service that if you are not in the Albuquerque metro area, we would love for you to watch. If you are, we'd love for you to come. So subscribe to our channel. Make this a daily habit of reading the Bible. We would love for you to do that. All right, well, let's dive into the scriptures and look at the end of chapter 6, starting in verse 30. The apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, "Come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest." So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said. "It's already very late." So, verse 36, "Send the people away so that they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, "You give them something to eat." And they said to him, "That would take more than half a year's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have?" he asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, 5 and 2 fishes. When Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in groups of hundreds and fifties. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to distribute to the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000. Immediately, Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead of him to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. After leaving them, he went up on a mountainside to pray. Later that night, the boat was in the middle of the lake, and he was alone on land. He saw the disciples straining at the oars because the wind was against them. Shortly before dawn, he went out to them, walking on the lake. He was about to pass by them, but when they saw him walking on the lake, they thought he was a ghost. They cried out because they all saw him and were terrified. Immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid." Then he climbed in the boat with them, and the wind died down. They were completely amazed, for they had not understood about the loaves. Their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they landed at Gennesaret and anchored there. As soon as they got out of the boat, people recognized Jesus. They ran throughout the whole region and carried the sick on mats to wherever they heard he was. And whenever he went into villages, towns, or countrysides, they placed the sick in the marketplaces. They begged him to let them touch even the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. Wow, what an amazing end of the chapter. And there's some amazing things to see that Jesus does. Jesus feeds 5,000 men. How many more women and children, we have no idea. However, and then he walks on water. There's a lot of supernatural things here. And so, but we see in these scenes of basically Peter relating this to Mark and Mark writing it all down, that the disciples, well, they don't understand the whole complexity of what Jesus can do. And so we see that in the feeding of the 5,000. In fact, let me tell you something. There are very few things written in all four Gospels, but the feeding of the 5,000 is found in all of those. It's found in Matthew 14, Mark 6, Luke 9, and John 6. Yeah, so not everything is found in all the Gospels. Most everything is not. In fact, we have the feeding of the 5,000. We have the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus. All of these. There's not many things. So the feeding of the 5,000 played a role in all of the Gospel writers' idea of who Jesus is. And it's because of this. Jesus tells the disciples, remember, they've just come back from being sent out, and that, they are curing people, they are healing people, they are delivering them from demons, and they're doing some amazing stuff that they were never able to do before until they were being taught by Jesus, blessed by Jesus, given empowerment by Jesus. And so when 5,000 people show up, they are focusing on the problem of feeding 5,000 people, instead of focusing on God and his ability to do anything he wants, anything he so desires. And that God and Jesus are one and the same. What? Jesus came from God. He was God. He is God. He's part of the Trinity. He has that ability. But yet, sometimes the disciples lost focus of being able to look to Jesus first in times of trouble. And even when he walks on the water, they are terrified. Rather than seeing Jesus, they should be going, hey, it's Jesus. But instead, they think it's a ghost, and they are freaked out about it. In the other account, we'll notice that Peter, there's no mention of Peter trying to walk on the water, because we do know he did that. It's not mentioned in Mark's gospel. That was conveniently left out by Peter. And I think because Peter saw it as a failure. But if we talk about Peter walking, Peter, when he looks to Jesus, he's able to walk on the water. When he looks at the waves, he starts sinking. That's the same thing. We need to worry about, we need to focus on God and not on our troubles or not on the problems. That doesn't mean we ignore the problems, but we need to look to God for solving our problems. My friends, those are my encouragement to you. Listen, if you're not doing anything, you're hanging around and you're on YouTube, tomorrow, come on in and watch our worship service for Sunday. I think it'll be good. Anyway, hope you're doing well. May God bless you. Maybe we'll see you Sunday. Otherwise, Monday, more reading of the Bible. Talk to you later.